I'm Sam Trainer from Price Prior. Thanks very much for coming in.
David Bennett from Bennett & Jones. We're the agents acting for Agricultural College on the sale of Elton Hall.
Lovely, thank you. Do sit down. So, David, thanks ever so much for coming into Price Prior to see us today. As you know, we're acting for the buyers of Elton Hall, Richardson's Properties Limited.
Right.
And as you also know, my clients went to inspect the property a couple of days ago, and there are a couple of questions that have arisen from that inspection.
That's fine. I'm very familiar with the property, so whatever questions you've got, I'm sure I'll be able to help you with.
Lovely, that's great. So, in particular, my client asked me to check up on the access to the property, because when they inspected, they were taken along what looked like a private road running from the main road past some fields and into Elton Hall itself.
Yeah, that'll be Beaufort Lane. That's the road leading to the property. It actually belongs to the farmer who owns the fields either side of that road. That's actually the only road that leads to Elton Hall. It's in, it sort of leads from Phoenix Road, which is like, I guess it's a sort of highway, but sort of the main road, Phoenix Road. And it is actually the only road which leads to the property. It's in reasonable condition, but you might have noticed when you attended the property that there's a few potholes. You know, you might have had a bit of a bumpy ride. And I'm not entirely sure who's got the responsibility for the maintenance of the road. Right. So that would be something to be checked. And I think also it's the case that the water supply pipe and sewer pipe also run underneath the Beaufort Lane. Right. And they sort of, you know, go out into the main road, Phoenix Road.
Lovely. Okay, that's great. And obviously I can check the road and the pipes and things when I do my title investigation, my searches. While we're on the subject of services, is the property connected to gas, electricity, telephone?
Yes, it's got all the usual services that you'd expect. Yeah, no problem there.
Okay. My clients gave me a copy of the sale particulars, which I think your company's produced, and it looks rather like a stately home. Do you know when it was first used as an agricultural college?
It was around 1997. That's when the college bought the property, and they started using it as an agricultural college from that point. I'm pretty sure that they got the relevant planning consent for that use.
That's good. Yeah.
I think historically the property has been. It was originally built as a sort of residential home before being changed in about the 1930s. It was the headquarters of a printing company.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The printing company found the property very convenient because there was lots of space for them to store their, you know, sort of large canisters of ink and chemical cleaning fluids, which they used in their printing processes.
Okay, super. And is anyone living at the site? Is the college residential at all?
No, it's not residential. The students, they all head home at the end of the day, every day. You know, it's not a residential college. No one actually lives at the property at all. Well, apart from there's a security guard. I think he's called Michael Phillips.
Right.
He lives on the site, but he'll be moving. Well, you know, once the sale goes through, he's going to the college's main campus once they've sold Elton Hall.
Okay, that's great. Has your client carried out any alterations to the property? When my clients got there, they thought there were some things that were probably additions. There's a sort of grand entrance affair, and also a library wing, which I mean, they like both of them because, you know, it gives it this kind of feeling of grandeur.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of alterations whilst the college were the owners. The entrance it's a sort of porter's lodge, which was added onto the front of the property quite a few years back now. And then there was a small storehouse on the side of the hall, which had to be demolished because the college then went on to build a 3-storey extension, which now has become the college's library. That was a bit more recently. I don't know the exact dates. I can check when I get back to the office and let you have the exact dates if you like.
That'd be really helpful, thank you. And I take it your client's got planning permission and building regulations approval for the works?
Not entirely sure, although I do know the local planning authority can sometimes be a bit tricky with those sort of things. Apparently it took quite a while for them to get the planning permission to change the use of the property to an agricultural college. But as far as I know, I don't think anyone's complained about any alterations of any sort.
Okay, fair enough. My clients also said they were particularly impressed at how quiet the property was.
Yeah, it is. It's a lovely location. I think when your client visited the property, the students were away on a field course, so it would have been, you know, exceptionally quiet. But even when the students are around, you know, for classes, it's not that noisy because, you know, as soon as classes finish, there's no bar at the college, so the students do their socialising in town. They go down to the Red Line in the village. You might have passed it on your way. They do a very nice tuna mayonnaise sandwich for lunch. Actually, yes.
Excellent. I'll bear that in mind.
But yeah, it is fairly quiet. I mean, it gets a bit busier at the weekends. On Sunday mornings, the local parishioners at the church, they park on the grounds. So they use the car park at the property.
Okay. It's really useful to know about the lack of a bar, because my clients have told me that they're planning to install one.
Right.
They think it's quite important because they want to use it as a conference centre and things, or a residential training centre rather. So with people staying on site, they feel they really do want to make sure there's a bar there. And I'll have a look into that car park issue you've raised as well.
Won't be a problem. But...
No. Excellent. My clients mentioned there's a river at the back of the property, sort of down behind the trees. Have there been any problems with flooding?
No, no real problems. I think a few years ago, the village of Tillerton, they had a bit of a flood. But while the college have been here, no, nothing which has directly sort of affected the property. And apart from that, no sort of flooding issues, I wouldn't say. There was a sort of issue connected with the river because the local ramblers, that they use a pathway along the river, and that had caused a bit of a problem because there was a bit of a litter problem, to be honest. They were leaving litter around, but the college had to install some bins along the pathway, and that seems to have resolved that issue. It hasn't been a problem since.
Okay, good. On the plan that came with your sales particulars, there's a reference to frontier miners' cottages. Are you aware of any mining in the area?
Well, not currently, no. I mean, I think there might have been some historically. You know, but that's a few miles away. It's not sort of it's not round the corner or anything.
No. Okay. And as far as the building itself is concerned, are you aware of any defects with that?
Defects? Well, I suppose there might be a slight problem with a crack in one of the walls, which might have been caused by subsidence. It's on the front, but it's not very noticeable actually, because the college were able to sort of train some ivy to sort of grow over it, so you can't really see it. Apart from that, well, maybe a bit of damp in the kitchen, but there's nothing else. Well, a few roof tiles blew off the roof in the recent winds, but you know, nothing to get excited about.
Okay, lovely. The property isn't quite a rural location. Presumably you don't have too many problems with the neighbours?
No. I mean, the nearest neighbours we've got as such is the church, and obviously, you know, the graveyard, but we've never had any problems with the residents of the graveyard.
Good.
Other than the church, there's a village green which is quite nearby in the surrounding vicinity. There is, of course, a boundary fence which goes around the property, which is sort of slightly in decay at the moment. It's falling down in places, but the seller hasn't felt it necessary to carry out any repairs.
Okay, well, I think that's all of my questions. Thanks ever so much for going through all of those with me.
Yeah, that's no problem. Although, one thing I did want to mention, the sellers are taking away the college crest. It's their own college crest when they leave the property. It's fixed into the wall of the Great Hall of the property. I think they've already mentioned this to your clients, you know, they're fully aware of it. And they didn't have a problem with it at all, as it's obviously it's unique to the college.
Yeah.
So that's going to be removed.
Okay, thanks for letting me know that. I'm confirm that with my client. I'm sure it'll be fine. Thanks ever so much for coming and seeing me today.
No problem. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now.